Now you're really at a, I know from a lot of things going on in your life right now and some of the presentations you're doing at our upcoming expo, you're at another pivotal turning point of your life. I'm sure a lot of things are changing, and maybe even your life direction is going to change for the long term. And more specifically, I want to speak about some of the things you're doing at the expo. Let's start with you're doing a 333 Tibetan Bowl Galactivation, which is an immersive sound experience. And from what I understand, that many bowls have never been in one place doing this kind of an event. So tell us a little about that. What's that like? What was the inspiration for it? And I know you've traveled to Nepal, and there's some involvement with the people there as well. So if you can share that story and tell us more about what this experience is for you and what it'll be like for the people who participate.
Absolutely. And this is like, I can hardly hold my smile back and contain my energy right now. Thank goodness for really good skin, keeping all this in. I'm just thrilled about what I'm doing right now. I had a brainstorm idea. Well, I'm considered a multiple modality holistic healing practitioner. And what that means to me is that over the years, I've gathered a whole lot of tools and modalities that have worked in my own process of expanding into who I am to be here. And my thought was always, if they work for me, they'll work for anybody. And so I became proficient in about 16 or 17 different tools and modalities, many of them in sound and vibration, and then crystals and essential oils, flower and essences. I have different lasers and Rife-based frequency devices. It's kind of, it's just across the board. And so, and part of that has been crystal bowls and Tibetan healing bowls. And a friend of mine came to me in November of 2014 and had established a deal with a village in Nepal. He had never been there. He bought a bowl on eBay and had such an amazing experience with this bowl and didn't know who to share it with. And so he wrote to the man from Nepal that had sold him the bowl on eBay, and he shared from his heart the experience. And in the man in Kathmandu, they went back and forth, and he said, "Would you like to sell our bowls?" And he said, "Well, I would love to, but I don't have the money to buy them." And he said, "We can get you the bowls, and as you sell them, you can pay them. You can pay us for them." And he had never done anything like this. And so he sent Eric maybe 30 bowls, and Eric started moving the bowls. The next shipment of 100 bowls came to me, and it's amazing. It's amazing to be sitting with 100 bowls all at one time. And so we started touring with the bowls, and Eric and I were touring together on the Tour of Love, my website, touroflove.com. And we were in Ashland, Oregon, when we heard about the earthquake. We found that our village, the Gelung village, was 30 kilometers from the epicenter of the earthquake. No communication in and out of Nepal. We couldn't get a hold of anyone. And for days, we were holding space for the best, but our hearts and minds couldn't help but be dragged into some of that fear-based thinking. After several days, we heard from our contact people from the village, and there are 100 families in the village, 100 homes. All 100 homes were destroyed. 30 of those families make our bowls, and but nobody died. And so we made arrangements immediately to get them tents. It was the rainy season. They had no homes. And I said to Eric, I don't really think we should plan on bowls anytime soon. They have to rebuild their lives. Ethan, it was within a couple of weeks that we got word that there were several hundred bowls waiting for us. They weren't rebuilding their homes. They were doing what they do to bring in the money that was necessary for them to, get some sort of edge on top of this destruction, devastating destruction that they were experiencing. So we've continued to work with them and to assist them. Things aren't getting better in Nepal. And this is, our news in the Western world moves so quickly. And, it's like it's almost another world ago that the earthquake happened, according to most, the general public, because now we're on to the elections and all the stuff that's being laid out for us to devour on a silver platter by the media conglomerates. But what's really happening in Nepal is they just went from 13 hours a day of no electricity to 18 hours a day of no electricity. Okay, things are not getting better. Our bowls that are coming to us have to go through Mumbai, India. 3 days it takes our point person to get them there because there's not enough jet fuel in Kathmandu. So it's like amazing odds that we're doing all of this. And so in January of this year, I was receiving a shipment of 300 bowls. And I thought, oh, this is perfect. I have an event at the Temple of Light in Irvine, California. We'll do a 300 bowl experience. Now, it wasn't very strategic on my part, and I have to laugh about it because once we did the experience that night, we didn't have 300 bowls anymore because people purchased the bowls. To do another 300 bowl experience, I probably could have gotten just as much excitement out of doing a 100 bowl experience, because when you get right down to it, who's even had a 100 bowl experience? I've only met a few people who have had 30 bowl experiences. That's the most so far until they met me. So we did the 300 bowl experience in Irvine that night. We had a sold out audience, over 100 people there. A third of the people chose to get a bowl and take it home. That helps the villages and these families like that. That money gets sent to them immediately. Each evening after our events, we dole out the money to Nepal. And I got to tell you, with all the money that the nonprofits hold back and everything, you know, you get yourself a Tibetan healing bowl and help, you know, the village. It's pretty amazing. And so it's a sacred economic agreement with them. Literally, I've had to send my strategic plan for the next year and a half to 2 different villages in Nepal. We've outgrown the one village, so now our bowls are coming from a second village, a much larger village. We have 1,500 people that I'm supporting right now with this last order of bowls. 1,500 from 2 villages. And here's the bottom line with it. I don't have the money to buy. I've got 680 bowls on their way to Detroit. They're being sent directly to Detroit. I don't have the into 6 figures that it costs for that order. I have paid $6,000 shipping, and they're sending the bowls. If the village was able to sell 1,000 kilos on their own for cash, they would. What we're doing is we are fulfilling a need for everybody. It's helping me stay on tour and anchor energies all over the country and affect people's lives. That's my mission and my purpose here. It's helping the villagers build their lives back up. It's supporting, I mean, the metals man in Mumbai, India had to approve my plan because we needed a $10,000 loan in metals from him. I've never been to Nepal. I've never been to India. I've traveled all over the world. Those are 2 places I've not been to. This is all based on a heart connection, a faith, a belief, and a knowing in the true nature of us as humans. They've never done a deal like this before. And it's pushing the envelope for all of us. And I can't tell you what it has really taken to do this. Now, we've bypassed the, well, we'll pay you as the bowls sell. And in the last month, I've borrowed $20,000 to make sure that the villagers, that the 1,500 people that have agreed to this deal, that they're still able to eat. I get that they're not getting paid for all their labor, but they need to eat. And so I've literally borrowed $16,000 last week and $4,000 4 weeks before that to make this happen. And so the tour is here to support all these efforts, to support the village. We're looking at what it takes to get a medical center set up for them, to do a community center in the larger village, and really to put ourselves out there and to help them more than just providing an outlet for the bowls. But no matter how you look at this, when I take and hold one of these bowls, I know the people energetically that have been a part of this. And everybody that's been a part of making this bowl is cheering for the success of the Tour of Love and for getting their village's name out there and soliciting help and energy to be focused on what it's about for them and what they're doing. And I couldn't be more pleased to have found myself in this position. We're busting paradigms here. And so the very first one is you have to have money to make money. And we say, forget that. That's out the window. That's old paradigm. New paradigm is find ways to create win-win situations across the board. Okay, this situation I found myself in, this is the exception right now. I'll give you that. But it's on the way to being not so much the exception. And this is how we work together as one people, as humanity, not as people that are so dedicated to their particular country and their particular religion and their particular lineage. Okay, we've risen above that, and we're all committed and dedicated to being human and helping other humans reach their greatest potential. I'm beside myself to be playing this role.
Well, that's an incredible story. It sounds like you're starting really more of a movement than just creating an immersive experience. And I think people who come to events like ours, it's important for them to hear that story, because not knowing that, they may think all that they're having is just a self-transformational sound immersive experience. So thank you for sharing that, and I'm sure you'll probably share that with us at the event as well.
Absolutely.
But tell me about, for the people who have been to these events in the past and who are coming to ours, and you haven't actually had 333 bowls in one place, from what I understand. What's that like for the people who attend the event, and what kind of things can they expect to get out of it?
Okay, so we have never done a 333 bowl experience. We did the 300 bowl experience in Irvine, and people were blown away. It was our first time. We needed 19 angels. It's Dr. Dream and his band of angels, 19 of them to facilitate that experience that evening. We each had 15 bowls in front of us. The audience was blown away. The comments that were made were about the wild expansiveness of the experience, about what they felt from a heart space. I've had people comment just being in the presence of the bowls, they feel their energy shift before a sound is even made. And of course that makes sense, because the bowls carry that energy of the people that made them, of the people that are cheering for those bowls, of the medals man in Mumbai. It's all of that energy is in the bowls. And so what I'm having sent to Detroit is the permanent set of 333 bowls. So 333 bowls that we'll use for each of our experiences, and those won't be sold. I have an additional 580 bowls coming. So if they're meant to find a home with anyone that's coming to the experience, they'll be able to find a home with them and provide the support. It is, we go through the chakras. We combine the experience with essential oils. The bowls are literally brought around. I mean, my 19 angels are not just at their 19 stations around the periphery of the audience in the room. They're literally coming up to people and moving around the audience. And so when we go into a particular chakra, like the heart chakra, there's 20 of us doing the heart chakra bowl, surrounding the audience. And so it's completely just that alone. If we just showed up with 20 bowls that were all the heart chakra bowl, nobody gets that experience. I mean, it's really, it's so unique. And I have to say that it's expanding every time. I mean, we recently we did a 144 bowl experience at the Temple of Light in Orange County. I have a monthly event there. There were 10 of us, 9 additional angels. And we've been doing, the sort of the conference call post-mortem, of what can we do better? What's the opportunity to make this even more expansive and to touch people even deeper? And so But Detroit will be a milestone for us because it will literally be the first experience with the permanent set of 333 bowls, the first time with 333 bowls, and we're going to be in a beautiful venue space with people that are gathering for an entire weekend, and they're gathering there because this event, okay, the Awaken Empowered Expo, is a game changer. It's a life changer. So for me, Ethan, the opportunity that you're giving me to do this experience, to facilitate this experience prior to a weekend that has the potential, if people allow it, free will universe, if people allow it, it has the potential to completely open them up and change their lives. And that's why I couldn't be more thrilled to be part of an event than I am to be part of the Awaken Empowered Expo.
Well, thank you. We're looking forward to experiencing that. And of course, there are a number of eclipses that are happening in March that should be very significant in terms of the awakening of consciousness. So the timing of doing this event at that time is really, really important.